We've been talking a lot about the Izaguri Ranch. For those that don't know what the Izaguri Ranch is, it's a ranch in Jalisco that was found by the Mexican government, that was investigated, and then later a coalition named the Warriors Searchers, Guerreros Buscadores de Jalisco, which is a an organization that looks for their missing loved ones, right? After the government had hit this Izaguri Ranch, um, these Guerreros Buscadores de Jalisco went and did their own investigation there, and they found what they say was a crematorium, right? So basically, the story that was being told was that, let's just say you have a 15-year-old son, daughter, whatever, 14 years old, they're outside, they get approached about a job, or they get snatched up. They could get snatched up, but they get approached about a job. They go to the place, they find out it's the Izaguri Ranch. They get there and they're handed a weapon and are there to, show what their worth is as a soldier. But they're not soldiers, they're kids. They didn't come there for that. And if they don't got it, then they end up in the crematorium. That was our understanding of it all, right? And then the government says, "Oh, there's no evidence of a crematorium." And I said, my point was, well, maybe, I give grace to mothers of missing children if they feel like lying to gain light and put attention on something. Maybe there was a crematorium, maybe there wasn't. Now they found many of these ranches, and they found more than one burn pit in Jalisco. So this seems to have been a thing. They also caught a man. We covered him on here. I forget his name. Who was supposedly the head of that specific Izaguri Ranch place. Unfortunately, along the vein of Santa Miriam, right, who was a lady whose daughter was snatched. She decided to fight back when nobody was fighting for her daughter. She found the four men responsible, all the way to the extreme of tackling people in the street and carrying a hammer herself. She begged the government for protection from these men that she put in prison when there was a jailbreak. And these men broke out of prison. And they terminated her in front of her home. Don Alejo. Don Alejo is a man who spent his life steering clear of the cartels, minding his business, staying out the way. And one day they came to him and said, "Hey, man, what's yours is now ours. We want your ranch. We want everything." He said, "That's not happening." They said, "It's going to happen, and we're going to end everything around here." He sent his family and his workers home, and he went to war. And he took out a couple of those fools, and those fools had to call for reinforcements, and they needed rocket-propelled grenades to get his ass out of there. Well, we've gotten to the story. We've been talking about the Izaguri Ranch. It seems if you fight for your loved ones and if you fight to not be oppressed in Mexico, you die. María del Carmen, member of Guerreros Buscadores de Jalisco, and her son Jaime Daniel Ramirez were unalived in Tlajomulco, Jalisco. A member of the Guerreros Buscadores collective of Jalisco and her 26-year-old son were unalived Wednesday night in the Park of Las Villas subdivision in the municipality of Tlajomulco de Zúñiga. The two were María del Carmen Morales and her son Jaime Daniel Ramirez Morales, who were searching for Ernesto Julian Ramirez Morales, María del Carmen's son, and Jaime Daniel's brother, who had been missing since February 27, 2024. So they've gone over a year looking for their missing loved one. The double homicide occurred around 11 p.m. in a park located at 32 Villa Sur Street at the intersection with Villa Sur Street in the aforementioned housing development. Witnesses said the attackers dressed in black arrived on two high-powered motorcycles, fired directly at their victims who were in the grassy areas of the housing development, and immediately fled. You fight for your loved ones. You looked for your loss in Mexico. They come and they smoke you. Don't fight. You can't fight for honor. You can't fight for to not be stepped on. Can't do it. They come and get you. In a statement, the Guerreros Buscadores collective of Jalisco mourned the unaliving of their partner María del Carmen and her son Jaime Daniel. They also demanded justice so that those responsible be arrested and punished. I'd like to ask the people that put on the jerseys for these cartels, what did these people do wrong? Huh? You say, oh, they should have minded their business. Ain't their missing family their business? Today, unfortunately, our collective has suffered a devastating blow. We demand an immediate and thorough investigation into the events to clarify those responsible for this double homicide. Justice for María del Carmen and her son Jaime Daniel, as well as for Ernesto Julian, whose case remains unsolved. Whole family, wiped. Gone.
The upper room.
In the same statement, he called on Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum to pressure state authorities to take the necessary measures to eradicate violence in the state. We asked the president to put pressure on the state of Jalisco. To take concrete measures to prevent violence and guarantee justice for the victims and their families. Mexican government's incapable. Just as incapable as the American government. They're too busy holding up their own corruption. They're too busy holding up their collection plates. This, to me, falls right along line with Don Alejo and Santa Maria. Because, as far as I'm concerned, these are the people that had the balls to do something. To legitimately, actually, and in reality do something. And it cost them everything. When they were trying to regain and recomplete their everything that they had already lost. Which is why I can't honor that jersey wearing shit. And y'all celebrating for your favorite cartel. Them people will do the same shit to you. You ain't shit. They don't give a fuck about you. You just a fan in the stands. And every now and then it turns into the malice at the palace. True story. Yeah, Sheinbaum's going to jump right on that, Deb. She's going to get right to it. Make sure everybody's safe again. It's effed up. People only go looking for the bodies to give them a proper burial, not to put los malandros in prison. And you get dealt with. You can't go find the remains of your loved ones. Why? Because why are you doing that for? Mind your business. That is my business. So, man, may whatever fiery hell pit everybody's gods got or their evil entity, whoever, may somebody lay the punishment and wrath of all of these families on every motherfucker that constituted this type of bullshit. Right? The people that belong on t-shirts are the María del Carmen's of the world, the Jaime Daniel Ramirez's of the world, the Don Alejos of the world, the Santa Mirians of the world. Chapo don't need to be on no shirt, neither does Mayo, neither does none of these motherfuckers. For what? For hurting children? For hurting the elderly? For not keeping their dogs in check? You miss me with the bullshit. They know there ain't no law out there. 90% of the unalivings go unsolved. It's an unfortunate situation because, again, the Guerreros Buscadores came up on our radar by them putting the Izagura Ranch on our radar. And we thought that shit was up. And look, gone. Dunzo. How dare you go look for your lost son? Should have carried a hammer. People got the resources that they got. They got what they got. That's all that they got. All those people had was grief and a little bit of hope. That shit got thrown out the window. Right? So, rest in peace, María del Carmen. And rest in peace, Jaime Daniel Ramirez. And if you're resting in peace, Julian, hopefully y'all are together. Moment of silence for them.